Hello again and welcome back to the PhatPhish Guitar Studio. I'm Dave and lately I've been doing a lot of videos about guitars. I thought it's about time showing a bit of love for effects pedals. So today I'm going to be doing a bit of a demo, a bit of a review of the MXR Dyna Comp compressor pedal. Okay, before I start, a bit of a disclaimer sort of thing. I've been getting a lot of hatred recently, some very almost violent comments telling me when I do videos where I'm showing pedals or guitars, I should just shut up and play. No, I like to talk about things because I assume that you have a degree of intelligence and you have an attention span and you actually want to understand what it is that's being demonstrated. So I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about what it is that's going on with this pedal rather than just sitting down and playing. If that's not for you, please feel free to f off and find something else which actually matches your IQ. For now, we're going to talk a little bit about this pedal. Now, the Dyna Comp is a compressor pedal. As you can see, it's only got two knobs on it, so it's fairly simplistic compared to some. For example, over here I've got a Wampler Eagle, which is also a compressor pedal. 5 knobs on that one rather than just the 2 on the Dyna Comp. That said, MXR have got quite a track record of doing very good quality pedals which aren't like over-featured. Think about the MXR Phase 90. It's like an iconic phaser pedal. It's only got one control. Dyna Comp has only got 2. It's got the output and it's got the sensitivity. The output is basically a volume control and sensitivity is the amount of compression that you're getting. Now, a while ago I did a bit more in-depth sort of discussion about it, so I'll put a link in the information section down there where I talk about how compressors work. But basically you can think about them as just kind of leveling the playing field in terms of volume. If it gets anything coming from the guitar that's too loud, it makes that quieter. If it gets anything from the guitar that's a little bit too quiet, it'll kind of boost the volume up. It just kind of compresses everything down into one band of volume, if you like. Okay, so we've got the pedal on the board there, all the controls at 12 o'clock. So the guitar I'm going to be using today is my custom shop 50s Strat, going into the clean channel on the Blackstar HT20 Mark II, a little bit of grit coming from a Frederick Effects Golden Eagle and some reverb from a Boss RV6. Sounds like this. Kick in the compressor. So as you can hear, there's a change in sound there, but it's quite subtle. The best way I can think to describe this is it's kind of squashed. Well, kind of compressed, I suppose, is what makes me think of that word. But you perhaps lose some of the dynamics from the picking. But it's quite a nice sound. Compressor doesn't drastically change your sound the way that plugging into a chorus pedal or an overdrive would. So sometimes people feel a little bit underwhelmed when they hear a compressor because they spend money on a pedal, put it onto the board, and it doesn't massively transform the sound. That's not what a compressor is about. A compressor is just about equalizing volume. It's not going to give you a radically different sound. Okay, so let's play around with some of the settings. I think it actually got a little bit quieter there when I kicked the pedal in. For all that output controls at 12 o'clock, it's not quite at unity. Increase that a bit. That's it. Let's see what that sensitivity does. What you can think about the sensitivity is doing is there's some sort of like a volume threshold at which the compressor thinks, right, okay, I now need to start working, and if there's something that's a little bit too quiet, I need to boost that up. Because obviously that needs to be some sort of cut-off point where the guitar gets quieter and quieter and then eventually fades away to nothing. You can't have the compressor kind of like, sustaining it forever. That's not what it's about. So it's kind of like when the volume reaches a certain level, it'll boost that, start to boost it up kind of into that compressed range. And likewise, anything that's too loud, it'll start to pull it down and stop it from being too loud, and just kind of normalize all the volume out. So if I turn the sensitivity down a little bit, put it about there. So this is without the pedal. So you can hear a little bit of coloration in the sound, but it's not really drastic. So if you're a player who kind of worries about, you use a lot of like picking dynamics, and you kind of control how the guitar sounds by like lightening up or really digging in with your picking hand, you might worry that like the compressor is not for you because it's going to take all the dynamics away. Now it doesn't have to. If you're careful with how you set the sensitivity, you can get the benefit of the compressor, but it's not going to like completely overwhelm what you're doing. So with the compressor on, I can start off playing something really, really quietly. And as I'm getting louder, I'm getting to the range where the compressor's starting to work. And as I'm getting really, really loud, the compressor's just bringing the volume down. So if I pick as hard as I possibly can and then turn the compressor off, you'll hear the volume going up. Yeah, so as I turn the compressor off, a little bit of an increase in volume. Not a massive one because I haven't got the sensitivity set really, really high. Let's take it a little bit further over the other way, sort of like take it from 9 o'clock up to 3 o'clock. So again, reference tone. And then with the pedal. Yeah, that's a much more it's like a compressed sound because we've got the sensitivity up. And let's hear what it does to the way it interacts with my picking dynamics, starting off with something really, really quiet and then building up and getting to something really, really loud. Yeah, now with the pedal set where it's much more sensitive, when it was set more sensitive, when I was playing really, really quietly, quite quickly it was like picking up that signal and boosting it up into the normalized range. And I didn't have a whole lot of range before it was thinking, oh, that's too loud, and it was compressing it down. So having the sensitivity up, it does give you a much more compressed sound when you're playing. It's like squashed, sort of poppy sort of sound, but you lose some of the range in dynamics. That's just the way it is. But if you like that sound, then you maybe need to be prepared to compromise some of your picking dynamics for getting the compressed, squashy sound. Of course, it doesn't need to be permanent. It's a pedal. You can switch it on, you can switch it off as need be. It doesn't have to be an always on pedal. So that's the basics of what a compressor does, and you can hear the sound that we're getting there from the MXR Dyna Comp. If you really want to hear a classic example of how you would use a compressor, would be on something completely clean. Let's take the sensitivity all the way up, and it would be something like a much more country sort of sound. Classic country sort of sound, that, isn't it? Now, with the sensitivity set that high, if I try and pick really, really quietly, and then through to loud, I haven't got a whole lot of dynamic range, but I am getting a lovely compressed sound on the guitar signal. So, if you want a good classic country sound, clean channel like Fender Blackface, compressor and Telecaster, that will give you the sound. Now there's the two controls there. We're kind of focused on the sensitivity. There's also that level control on the Dyna Comp. It's basically, like I said, a volume control. And where you can think about using this is, it doesn't just have to be about giving you that compressed sound. You can use it as a boost, you can use it as a limiter. So where I've got the control set there now, it's about, like I say, about unity. It's as loud without the pedal as it is with. Just turn the sensitivity down a little bit because I'm not mad keen on a fully compressed sound. But if I turn that up, so that's without. So you can think about using a compressor pedal as a boost if you want. So I'm going into a drive sound here. So this is the Golden Eagle. Yeah, so when I turn that compressor on, it gets a bit louder and it's kind of boosting the gain stage a little bit. So you can think about using a compressor pedal as a boost, or likewise you can think about turning the output, knocking it down a little bit and just smoothing things out, makes things a little bit quieter. Generally though, I tend to use a compressor with the output set pretty much at unity, so it's as loud without the pedal as it is with. But it's like you say, you've got the controls there and you can adapt it and use it in different ways. So how would I rate the Dyna Comp? Yeah, for a pedal at that price range, it is really, really good. I picked this one up a while ago. I think if you go out and not out the high street and buy one now, you'd probably be looking to pay about £85 to £90. It's a really good unit. It's well made. It's good, solid metal casing on it. All the knobs, the switch have a good positive action to it. The build quality is really good. So if you're wanting to kind of experiment with compressors, this is probably a pretty good place to start. You're not spending hundreds and hundreds of pounds like you might with a boutique compressor, but it gives you a good broad range of sounds and kind of a good sort of starting point for like dipping your toe in the water of compression. So it's not for everybody. Some people, like I said, do sometimes feel a bit underwhelmed that the compressor doesn't give you a massive change in sound. But as long as you're kind of prepared for, the compressor is going to sound like a compressor. It's not some tool that's going to like magically transform your tone into something else. Keep that in mind, and you might be pleasantly surprised with how you get on with them. And the other thing, as I said, is don't be afraid that the compressor is going to completely take away your picking dynamics and what you're doing with your picking hand. Setting the sensitivity on the compressor in the right way, you can get the balance between a compressed sound and still having some dynamics to your playing. One other thing to mention with the MXR pedals, generally they've got some quite decent size controls on them, but they also come with these sort of like slip-on covers to go over the knobs. They look kind of weird, but the idea is give you like a soft, so like foamy rubber sort of grip. Really useful if you want to try and just control them with your feet on stage. And there's a little bit of gap at the edge, so you can still see like the white marker on the knob, so you know where it's pointing, but you've got that buffer around the edge, something that you can catch with your shoe while you're playing. So it makes it easy to control without having to keep bending down and control the pedal with your hands. Okay, it's a relatively simple pedal, not a whole lot more really to say about it, other than hope that has whetted your appetite for the world of compression and something you might want to have a look at. Hope you found the video useful. If you did, please click like down there. If you really enjoyed it and you want to see other videos that I post onto the channel, then please click subscribe. Like I said, there's loads and loads of other videos on the channel now, including that one all about how compressors work in a bit more detail. So you can go and check that one out at the link in the information section below. If you've got a question or anything that you want to ask me, whether it's about pedals, guitar equipment, music theory, guitar playing, anything at all, you can leave a comment in below the video if you want, but I generally don't get to see those. Much more reliable way of getting in touch with me is to go here, fill that form in, send your comment in through there, it comes direct to me and I can get around to answering your question in a future video. Okay, that's all for now. Thanks very much for watching and I'll see you in another video next time. Bye for now.